Okay, dear students, now we shall discuss about PPT 3, which is session 3, in which we are studying about another type of transistor bias known as voltage divider bias method. Voltage divider bias method. In the last class, we have discussed base resistor or fixed bias transistor biasing. Here, one disadvantage is that since the resistor RB connected to the base is fixed and very high value, also the current gain factor, that is beta, which changes when temperature changes. Therefore, the operating point, that is output collector emitter voltage and output collector current, changes. As a result, we may not get a faithful amplification. This disadvantages is overcome in voltage divider bias method. So all bias is very important for faithful amplification to be done by the transistor amplifier circuit. I will write the circuit of voltage divider bias using a transistor. I will consider NPN transistor such that the arrow mark at the emitter, this is emitter, this is base, this is collector, arrow mark is outward. Therefore, this is N material, this is P material, and this is N material. We know that the transistor will transverse the signal from low path resistance to high path resistance, and thus we get amplified output. For this, the transistor biasing must be such that the base, that is input of the transistor, forward bias, and the collector, output of the transistor, reverse biased. This forward bias and reverse bias are achieved from a single power supply. Now, you know that, let us consider VCC is a DC battery which supplies DC energy to the circuit in order to bias, proper bias. And we know that the voltage is always applied through a resistor. That a resistor is connected to the collector, denoted by RC, collector resistance. In voltage divider bias, the base must be forward bias. This is positive. N is connected to positive means it is reverse bias. Output is reverse biased. To make it forward bias, P must be connected to positive of this power supply. And again, the power supply cannot be connected directly. It is connected through a resistor. I will call this as R1. Now this voltage between this base and emitter. This is our base, this is our emitter. I will call this as VBE, base emitter voltage, also called barrier voltage, because when N junction is connected to P junction, you get a NP diode, and at the junction, you get a barrier voltage. This is referred as VBE. Any voltage applied between base and emitter which is equal to VBE, then junction gets cancelled. Now the current starts rising. Since it is a voltage divider bias, the applied voltage has to be divided across this and across base and emitter. Therefore, what we need is another resistance R2 is connected to this base. I will call this as R2. And of course, a resistance RE is connected to this emitter, the emitter resistance RE. and this is ground. That is, a positive of power supply, external positive power supply is connected to this here. I will call it as voltage connected to collector VCC, and negative is connected to ground. And we simply mention, instead of writing the power supply outside, this is plus VCC and negative is connected to ground. Now see, the applied voltage from here to here is VCC. Now this gets divided into two parts, across R1 and across R2, such that voltage drop across R2, since this is plus and this is minus. P is plus means forward bias. Therefore, voltage drop across R2 makes this base emitter forward bias, and the voltage across R2 should not be more than, very much more than VBE. It is just a little bit more than VBE, because once the applied voltage across this is equal to VBE, the junction gets breakdown and emitter current and base current starts flowing. If this is more than VBE, very high current passes and this may damage the transistor. Therefore, voltage, much of the voltage applied VCC should be dropped across R1, and voltage drop across R2 is just forward bias voltage. Therefore, usually the value of R1 is made 10 times more than R2. If this is 10K, we will consider this as 100K. So that if the applied voltage is 10 volts and voltage drop is 9 volts, only 1 volt is dropped across this. Now this is the DC voltage. This is DC circuit of the voltage divider bias. Here the applied voltage VCC divides across R1 and R2, and hence the name voltage divider biasing method. You see this collector, this is positive, N is connected to positive. Therefore, collector is reverse bias. P is positive. Therefore, base is forward bias. That is, input is forward bias, output is reverse biased. Now we have to calculate this collector current IC such that it is suitably forward biased and the transistor produces faithful amplification. And also we have to calculate this value. This is from here to here. This is collector and this is emitter. Collector emitter. Therefore, this is collector emitter voltage. So you have to select the values of VCE, collector emitter voltage, so that the current IC, collector current, for which the transistor should produce faithful amplification. That is, small signal applied at the input enlarges at the output. And we know that the function of the capacitor. Let us consider this capacitor. The resistance offered by this capacitor C is represented as Xc, and we call it as capacitive reactance. The resistance offered by the resistor is denoted by R itself, whereas the resistance of the resistance of the capacitor C is represented as capacitive reactance Xc. If Xc is more, reactance, that is opposition power, is more, no current flows through this. And Xc is given by formula 1 by C, we will study it later, where omega is nothing but 2 pi F into C. 2 pi and capacitor is fixed, then capacitive reactance is directly proposed to 1 by F. For DC signal, F is equal to 0. DC means constant. Therefore, there is no fluctuation or vibration. Number of vibration in 1 second is frequency. Therefore, DC voltage is constant and therefore frequency is 0. Then reactance offered by the capacitor Xc is equal to 1 by 0 is infinity. That is, for DC, the capacitor offers infinite impedance, infinite resistance. So, the DC voltage or current will never flow through the capacitor. For AC signal, you have frequency. When there is a frequency, ratio is a finite. So when F increases, the ratio decreases. So AC signal has frequency. Therefore, Xc has a finite value. That means it will not resist for the flow of AC. Therefore, in the electronic circuit, wherever you need to pass the AC, you need a component known as capacitor. And also wherever you need to stop the DC voltage, you need a capacitor. Now, since this has to be amplification, I will consider a AC signal here. A small, this is generator or AC source. There are two types of source. If you write like this, it is a AC source producing sine wave. Not represents a continuous sine wave. This is DC power supply. This represents positive and negative. AC has no direction. So this is AC power supply, which produces signal. This is DC power supply, which produces DC voltage, which is constant. I will write the AC signal here, small AC signal, where the period is T. At the output, period remains constant. Amplification means only increase in its amplitude. Period remains constant. See here, this starts from 0, whereas this starts from 180 degree. That means there is a phase change of 180 degree. There is a phase change of 180 degree, that is pi, between the input and the output, if the transistor is connected in common emitter mode. Here emitter is common for both input and output. Now, in order to allow this AC to the input, you need a capacitor. Let it be C1. The amplified AC signal is obtained here. In order to make it to pass through out, you need another capacitor here. And thus you get output AC here. Output AC. This is our input AC. Input AC is a small signal. Output AC is a large signal. Thus this transistor circuit amplifies the signal. To make the faithful amplification, that is same shape of the output. Output also should have same shape of the input, same shape. Period remains constant. If this input frequency is F, the output frequency should also be F. That is called fundamental frequency. This is faithful amplification. To get this faithful amplification, this transistor circuit has to be properly biased. This is called transistor biasing. What is biasing? How do you make this biasing? We will select this output reverse bias. We will select this input forward bias. When we select this a proper value of VCE, reverse bias voltage, the current IC flows through this. Therefore, selecting value of VCE and IC for a given transistor is nothing but operating point Q. Q is nothing but collector emitter voltage at operating point Q and collector current at operating point Q. So you have to calculate VCQ and ICQ from this circuit. And the applied voltage VCC gets divided across R1 and R2. Therefore, it is called voltage divider bias. Also, voltage across R2 is just enough to make this forward bias. It should not be more than VBE, not more than VBE. So, if VBE, value of VBE, the value of VBE for germanium transistor is 0.7 volt and the value of VBE for silicon transistor is 1.2 volts. If you construct the transistor using germanium, the barrier voltage of base emitter is 0.7 volts, which is fixed at room temperature, and base emitter voltage is 1.2 for silicon transistor at room temperature. If this voltage across R2 is less than this voltage, no base current flows because it is barrier voltage. It has to be cancelled. Therefore, this voltage across R2 should be minimum 0.7 volts for germanium and minimum 1.2 volts for silicon, because these two are opposite. If this is positive, this is negative value, and therefore voltage across R2 should be enough for 0.7 volts or 1.2 volts. So maximum I can select this as a 2 volts example. It should not be more than 2 volts. If it is more than 2 volts, excess of current flows, this heats up the transistor will burn out. Therefore, the applied voltage VCC from here to here among VCC, much voltage should drop across R1 only. Only voltage across R2 is just more than this, say approximately 2 volts. If the applied voltage is 10 volts, this is 2 volts and 8 volts must be across R1. If the applied voltage is 15 volts, 13 should be dropped across R1, and voltage drop across R2 is just 2 volts. But there is a method of selecting the values of R1 R2 such that the voltage across R2 is just forward bias. That is, R1 should be more than 10 times R2. If R1 is 10K, R2 is 1K. If R2 is 100K, if R1 is 100K, R2 is 10K. Like that. How? Let us study the biasing voltage, that is VCQ, and biasing current ICQ, so that the transistor should amplify faithfully in this voltage divider bias or resistor divide bias. To study the DC condition, let us consider the DC circuit of this. Andre ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟರ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ this allows AC to the input. ಇದೇ capacitor blocks DC. Therefore, the DC voltage from this power supply is to make only this power bias. It should not pass through into the AC source. Therefore, while coming here DC voltage, it is stopped by capacitor. Whereas this AC voltage is only allows into the base. Function of capacitor is to block DC and allows only AC. Here also, this DC voltage should not come outside, because the transistor function is to just amplify the AC signal. Therefore, whatever the DC voltage applied here, VCC, should not go to outside. Therefore, this capacitor just blocks that DC voltage. Amplified AC voltage at this is allowed through the capacitor. It allows AC voltage. Therefore, at the output, you get an enlarged amplified AC signal. Now, we shall discuss about DC conditions. That is, you have to calculate VCEQ and ICQ. I will write DC circuit only. So, consider this transistor NPN, where RC is the resistance, R1 and R2 is a divider resistor, RE is emitter resistor. This is connected to plus VCC and this is connected to ground, that is minus VCC. Now this is the collector, this is the base, and this is the emitter. The voltage between base and emitter is called as VBE. The value of VBE is 0.7 moles for germanium at room temperature. The value of VBE is 1.2 volts for silicon at room temperature. Considering DC circuit means removing capacitor. When there is a capacitor, it acts as a AC. Therefore, I have removed this capacitor. Input capacitor I removed. Output capacitor is I removed. And emitter capacitor is also I removed. So, this is DC circuit. Now, this is R1 and this is R2. See, because of this R1, I will apply the voltage applied to this R1 is also VCC, voltage applied to this also VCC, and I will write this as like this. This is plus VCC This is R1, this is R2, and this is RE, another RC. Through RC to the collector, same value VCC is connected. Therefore, this is also plus VCC. This is ground. See that R1 is connected to a power supply VCC. This R1 is in series with this R2. Now I will calculate voltage and current across this branch. So I will apply Thevenin's theorem. Thevenin's theorem states that in any electrical network, this is electrical network, in any electrical network, if there are number of power supplies or number of DC voltages, and if there are number of resistors, we can get an equivalent circuit such that all the voltages are replaced by a single voltage, VTH, known as Thevenin voltage, and all the resistances of that circuit are replaced by a single resistance, known as Thevenin equivalent resistance. And therefore I will write the Thevenin circuit for this. How do you write the Thevenin circuit? See, this R1 with power supply VCC, and another point of R1 is connected to R2. Other point of R2 is grounded. I will write the Thevenin equivalent circuit here. Consider a power supply. This is VCC. Okay. This is VCC, which is connected to, this is positive VCC, therefore it is connected to R1. This is connected to R1. Other point of R1. See the circuit. Other point of R1 is connected to R2. Other point of R1 is connected to R2. And other point of R2 is connected to ground, for which negative power supply is connected. Therefore, this is connected to ground, for which negative power supply is connected. So this is Thevenin equivalent. This is a modified circuit of this. I will write the Thevenin circuit of this. So if this is a circuit, electrical circuit, Thevenin circuit will be like this. All the voltage sources are replaced by a single voltage source known as Thevenin voltage. There is only one voltage source, therefore it itself acts as a Thevenin voltage. This is VCC. And R1, this is VTH. R1, R2. I will replace this effective value of these two resistance by a single resistance known as RTH. This is the Thevenin circuit of this electrical network. And of course, you see, this is connected to base, and this is connected to plus VCC, this is RC, and it is RE. Now, how do you calculate Thevenin voltage and Thevenin? Because of this VCC, let I1 is the current flows through this, and I2 is the current flows through the R2. With this power supply, voltage across R2 is called Thevenin voltage, VTH. Now from Ohm's law, V is equal to IR. Here the voltage across R2 is VTH. Current is I2. Resistance is R2. Therefore, VTH is equal to I2 into R2. Since this is I1, This is I2. Here, these two resistors are in series. Therefore, instead of calling I1 and I2, I will call this as I itself. Same current flows. I1 also flows through R. These two resistors are in series. Same current flows. Therefore, I2 is also equal to I1. Now, whatever it may be. Let I be the current. From Ohm's law, what is the effective value of these two resistors? R1 plus R2, because these two are in series. So R1 plus R2 is the net resistance of the circuit. VCC is the voltage. Therefore, current flows through this circuit. I is equal to voltage divided by resistance from Ohm's law. Current equals voltage by resistance. Therefore, VTH is equal to, if I consider I as the same current from Ohm's law, VTH is equal to, let this be current I itself, I R2. Therefore, I is equal to VTH over R1 plus R2. Therefore, VTH is equal to, this is VCC. I will write the circuit again here. This is power supply, VCC. This is resistance, R1. This is resistance, R2. Okay. Let I is the current flows through the circuit. Thevenin voltage is voltage drop across R2 is Thevenin voltage, which is denoted by VTH. From Ohm's law, VTH is equal to current into resistance, that is I into R2. Okay. Now, this R1 and R2 are in series. Therefore, this circuit can be written as VCC, where the resistance is R1 plus R2. When the two resistors are in series, the net value is R1 plus R2 and current is I. Again, from Ohm's law, this I is equal to voltage divided by resistance R1 plus R2. Substitute this I here. VCC is the voltage. Two resistors R1 and R2 are in series. Therefore, net resistance is R1 plus R2. The resistors are in series is sum of the resistors R1 plus R2. So, let I is the current flows through this R1 plus R2. From Ohm's law, I is equal to V by R. Therefore, I is equal to VCC by R1 plus R2. Substitute this I here. You get VTH is equal to, I is nothing but VCC by R1 plus R2 into R2. This gives the Thevenin voltage. And how do you calculate Thevenin resistance? The Thevenin resistance can be calculated by removing the power supply. So, the Thevenin resistance is nothing but R1, R2, remove the power supply. So, when you remove the power supply, this VC is equal to 0. Now, voltage drop across R2 is the Thevenin resistance. So, when voltage source is removed, now this R1 and R2 are in parallel because R1 of this point is connected, R2 of this point is connected. These two are in parallel. Therefore, RTH is nothing but parallel combination, that is R1 R2 over R1 R2 over R1 plus R2. This is Thevenin resistance, Thevenin voltage and Thevenin resistance. Therefore, this entire circuit is, this is VTH, this is RTH, and base, emitter, collector, RC and RE. Base, RE. This is grounded. Here it is RC. This is plus. Let this current be IB, base current. Current flows through this is base current. From Ohm's law, this base current IB is equal to voltage by resistance. Therefore, base current is equal to voltage divided by resistance is base current. IB is equal to voltage is VTH, resistance is RTH. From Ohm's law, I is equal to V by R. This is our base current. Once you know the base current, you can also calculate the collector current, because the circuit is in common emitter mode. In common emitter mode, we get a current gain denoted by beta is equal to output current is IC, input current is IB. Therefore, IC is equal to cross multiplication beta into IB. Here IB is calculated from VTH by RTH. Therefore, collector current is equal to beta times IB. So once you know the IB, beta is a fixed value for a given transistor, then IC can be calculated using this. Now, you can calculate output voltage VCQ now. I will write the circuit again here. This is VTH. This is RTH. This is connected to base. This is collector resistance RC. This is plus VCC. This is base. This is emitter. This is collector. Voltage drop across this is base emitter voltage VBE. This is plus, this is minus. Therefore, this is also plus and minus. Let the current flows through this is IB, base current. Since positive of power supply, here this is positive, this is negative. Since negative is connected to emitter, this is negative, this is positive. Let IE is the current flows through this emitter. IB is current flows through RTH. VBE is the base emitter voltage. From Kirchhoff law, the applied voltage is equal to sum of the individual voltage drops. Here the applied voltage is VTH, which is equal to, in this closed electrical network, Kirchhoff voltage law states that the applied voltage is equal to sum of the voltage drop across this individual component. Voltage drop across this is, from Ohm's law, IB RTH, and voltage between base emitter is plus VBE, and voltage through the emitter resistance RE. IE is the current, RE is the resistance. The voltage drop across RE is IE RE. And in the transistor, study of transistor, we know that the emitter current goes to both base and collector. Therefore, emitter current is equal to base current plus collector current. So, in general, the transistor equation is emitter current is equal to base current plus collector current. Here, emitter region is made almost equal to collector region. Therefore, emitter current is almost equal to collector current, but a little bit more than base. Base is made very thin and base current is very, very small. Usually, IB is very small, 1000 times of this IC. Therefore, IB can be neglected. Since IB is very small. Now IE is almost equal to IC, and also we know that beta is equal to IC by IE. Therefore, from this expression, IC is equal to cross multiplication beta into IE. Sorry. The current gain beta is equal to IC by IB. The current gain beta is equal to output current by input current. But we know that emitter current is almost equal to collector current. Therefore, for the collector current, I will replace this by emitter current. Therefore, beta is equal to IE divided by IB, or IE is equal to cross multiplication beta into IB. Substitute this value of IE in this equation. You get VTH is equal to IB RTH plus VBE, that is our base emitter voltage, plus IE is beta IB, beta into IB into RE is equal to, here IB is common, okay. So I will consider IB common. This is RTH plus beta into RE plus VBE, or VTH minus, when it comes here becomes VBE, which is equal to IB into RTH plus beta into RE, or IB is equal to VTH minus VBE divided by RTH plus beta into RE. So this is how you have to calculate IB. VTH is equal to IB RTH plus VB plus beta IB RB. Here IB constant. Therefore, this is RTH plus beta RE plus VBE. When VBE comes to left side, it is VTH minus VBE. When it comes here, it becomes minus VBE, which is equal to IB into RTH plus beta RE. Therefore, IB is equal to VTH minus VBE divided by RTH plus beta RE. This is how you have to calculate base current. Once you know the base current, you can calculate the collector current. IC by IB is beta. Therefore, IC is equal to IC by IB equals beta. Therefore, IC is equal to beta into IB. Here, VTH Thevenin voltages can be calculated. VB base emitter voltage, which is 0.7 volts per germanium or 1.2 volts per silicon, it is known. RTH Thevenin resistance can be calculated as shown above, plus beta current gain of a transistor. RE is a fixed emitter resistance. Everything is known. Now you can calculate IB from this equation. Once you know the IB, you can calculate output current IC, which is beta into IB. I will call this as ICQ, that is value of the collector current. I will call this as ICQ, that is the value of the collector current at operating point. Now let us calculate the value of collector emitter voltage at operating point. Consider this circuit, okay, and for input I have already calculated. Now let me calculate from year to year. What is the voltage applied? That is VCC. Let IC is the current flow through RC. From Ohm's law, current into resistance is voltage. Therefore, from year to year, it is IC RC. This is collector, this is emitter. Therefore, voltage between this collector and emitter, I will call this as collector emitter voltage VCE. This is IE, this is RE. From Ohm's law, current into resistance is voltage. Therefore, emitter voltage is VE, that is IE RE. Voltage drop across this is ICRC from Ohm's law. Voltage drop across this is VCE, voltage between collector and emitter. Voltage across RE is from Ohm's law IE RE. The applied voltage is VCC, which is equal to sum of these three voltage. Therefore, I will write here VCC is equal to IC RC plus VCE plus IE RE. Therefore, VCE is our required value. We have to find out collector emitter output voltage so that the output of a transistor is suitably reverse biased for faithful amplification. From this equation, VCE equals ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆರಡು ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬಂದರೆ ಮೈನಸ್. therefore VCC minus here it is ICRC, here minus IERE is equal to VCC minus, I will take common, this is ICRC plus IERE. But what is IC? IC by IB is equal to beta. So the IC here is calculated from this equation, beta IB. IB is calculated from this equation. When you know this, ICQ is known. Therefore, instead of writing IC here, I will write ICQ here because ICQ is known. VCC is applied voltage, 10 volts that you know, into IC is calculated from this expression, IC equals beta IB. IC is known. RC is a fixed collector resistance. Emitter current is known. And emitter resistance is known. But we know that emitter current is almost equal to collector current. Therefore, emitter current is almost equal to collector current. Therefore, from this expression, I will write here VCC equals, VCE equals VCC minus ICRC, or I will take this minus ICRC plus IERE, but IE is almost equal to IC. Therefore, this is also ICRE. Instead of IE, I will substitute IC. Therefore, VCE is equal to VCC minus, if I take IC common, this is RC plus RE. The collector resistance connected is known. The emitter resistance that you have to connect, that is known. Applied voltage VCC is known. IC can be calculated from this expression. Therefore, we can write this as collector emitter voltage at operating point is equal to collector emitter voltage at operating point is equal to VCC minus, instead of IC I will write it as ICQ because current at operating point into RC plus RE. Thus, VCEQ is known. It can be calculated. Similarly, ICQ can also be calculated. Where IB is, to calculate ICQ need IB. IB is calculated from this. To To calculate this, you need VTH and RTH. VTH and RTH, that is Thevenin voltage and Thevenin resistance, that is calculated from this expression, where you get Thevenin voltage already calculated. So Thevenin voltage VTH is equal to R2 VCC. Thevenin voltage VTH equal to R2 VCC over R1 plus R2. So you can calculate VTH by this equation. And RTH. RTH is Thevenin resistance. That is R1 R2 over R1 plus R2. So this is a complete study of voltage divider bias. In voltage divider bias, you have to calculate the biasing voltage and biasing current. VCEQ is biasing voltage, ICQ is biasing current. That is the operating point Q is VCEQ comma ICQ. The advantage of this voltage divider bias is that very simple. Voltage drop across R1 is made very much greater than R1, R2. R1 is made very much greater than R2. Therefore, applied voltage almost drops across R1. Only a small voltage drop across R2. That is, base is just forward bias. No high current flows. When no high current flows, transistor will never heat up. When transistor does not heat up, the value of beta does not change. Once the beta remains constant, from the expression I see, from this expression see, when beta is constant, ICQ constant. When ICQ constant, applied voltage constant, RC, RE constant, VCQ constant. Thus you get a constant operating point. This gives a faithful amplification in voltage divider bias method. This is the merit of the voltage divider bias method. Thank you.